Welcome to the Cupid's Coach podcast. I'm your host, Julie Ferman, inviting you to transform me to we through your own proactive love search process. You're doing it consciously, you're doing it on purpose, you're trying new things. And I have a great, fun, wonderful guest for you to explore with today. Her name is Kristi Price, and she's a matchmaker too. And we're going to find out all about how she got into this. She's been doing it for 15 years. And before that, I'll tell you what she did. She was actually a financial planner of all things, but I think she must have found that boring because the wealth management thing was great. And then she was a nationally acclaimed equestrian trainer. She knows how to influence horses to do the right thing. I wonder how she can translate that to human beings. Welcome to the show, Kristi Price.
Hi, Julie. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Well, I'll tell you guys, you listeners, why it occurred to me to have Kristi on the podcast. She did a really beautiful presentation for all of us matchmakers about 2 weeks ago. Just did a really, really great job. Matchmaking is one of those rare industries where now, didn't used to be this way, we collaborate and we help each other. And we help each other build better businesses, make better matches. It's really amazing. So Kristi was the one leading us that day, and I just loved everything that she said. And I knew she was my kind of person. And I never get to spend 45 minutes with Kristi Price unless I invite her on the show. So it's really just selfish. I'm so glad you're here.
I love it.
So that question I asked you about horses and equestrianism, is that the word? Equestrianism?
Yeah,
Um,
equestrians. Yes.
yeah,
It might be a word. Close enough.
yeah, part of equestrian studies. Horses are psychic. Horses are magical. Horses can feel. My golden retriever can feel. He'll always hang with whoever in the family is the weakest link at the moment.
Hmm.
He knows, he
Yeah.
can feel it. So I'm wondering if developing that in tuneness that you had with horses has helped you with relationships and people and reading people and feeling people.
I think it has because horses really mask and mirror your energy. And energy is everything. I think we're both about the law of attraction. The vibration you put out is what you bring in. And, if I would go to one horse in like a bad mood or really like agitated, they blow up. They react to how you are reacting to other situations. So I really learned how to be like non-reacted, more grounded and intuitive to not just horses, but people's feelings too, and really be able to listen and hear them and be able to relate to them. That's not everyone, but that's my goal with what I do.
Yeah. And isn't that also what we should be doing in dating? Is paying attention, feeling energy, and instead of just bringing ourselves into the situation and just running our number, just doing the Julie show, doing the Kristi show, to be in tune and listening.
Yeah, I'm sure you can relate to this. I think the biggest fails, one of them, on the dates I set up, or if they're doing it on their own too, is the feedback I get is the other person just came in and sold themselves. So you don't feel that rapport and that connection by just kind of like vomiting at the mouth of all the accolades and how great you are. It's really about that tennis match back and forth and really being in tune with the other person and listening and asking questions and getting to know them. And then it comes back to us. And also, as you're dating or just friendships, like be in tune with what's going on in their life and just maybe sometimes ask questions and listen. And sometimes don't, try to problem solve and just try to be empathetic with what they're going through. I think that really creates a deep connection. And I feel like in this fast paced world we're lived in, we don't stop enough to really kind of tune into others and what their energy is and what they're going through, whether it's happy and you're celebrating or maybe they're going through something tough. What do you
Yeah.
think?
I was doing a coaching call this morning with this gentleman who's on he's on like month number 3 with his new relationship. And I was encouraging him, they're going away this weekend, and I was encouraging him to just really engage curiosity. He wants to see more animation. He wants to see more spark. He wants to see more mush, is what he calls it, mush. And so my challenge to him was to spend the weekend paying attention to what makes her mushy, what makes her energized, what makes her excited, and just see. Because we also talked about expectations. The only time we're disappointed is when we set an expectation, right?
Right.
And
No, I agree.
who's in charge of what that expectation is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you want somebody to be more animated and to share more and get more gooey and mushy, and maybe she's not the type to give words of affirmation, I love you. I haven't heard that in 35 years. My husband is not that kind of guy. um, but when he's in the right mood, he'll make me scrambled eggs and ham. It's like
Yeah. So acts of service are his thing.
exactly. And so my advice to people who are doing that thing called dating and just relating, like anytime we feel like we're down or we're not really our full selves or we're depressed or just anxious or whatever, shift to curiosity. And how can we bring smiles to faces of the people who are at the CVS pharmacy, right?
And doesn't that make you happy? If I try just being present in the moment, and maybe you can see the person at the checkout counters just having a bad day, or maybe they're grumpy, and just saying, "How's your day going?" And
Yeah.
just seeing them light up, that you're taking time to ask them how they're doing. Really, it's kind of selfish too, but it makes us feel better too. You're helping someone else feel better, and in return, you're like, I took a moment to breathe. Even if you're having a bad day, it'll elevate both parties, both them and you. I think it's good to just, like you said, be present and curious and care about others.
It's really true. And it's an art and it's a skill that we can, and I say, and you would say too, we should develop is the opportunity
Very
to
good.
go into another person's experience and be with them. And how about we do that a lot on first dates and on those
I
little
agree.
initial texting messages and the initial phone call if they're doing sort of an online dating initial kind of screening test the waters out phone call. Engage your curiosity. We were talking, Christy, about those stories that people tell, like when they just sort of go on their diatribes on first dates. Folks, can you stop it? Those stories that you've told many, many, many times, change them up. It's kind of like the way you drive to work or the way you drive to your friend's house or whatever. Change it
Yeah.
up. Go the way, go the long way. Can you tell the story that you always told about where you went to college differently, freshly, in a new way? When somebody asks you a question about your relationship, your past relationship, can you tell the story in a different way that you've never told it before, so it's not just rote? You know what I'm talking about, Christy?
I love that because I think it's just like, I'll relate to business. Everyone talks about an elevator speech, right? You say the same 30-minute speech over and over again, and you lose your audience. And in this case, your audience is someone that you really want to connect with. So I love that. You change it up. It makes your brain think differently. Your inflection is going to be different. It's not going to just be like that flat conversation, like, okay, this is what happened. I love that.
That's right. One thing I noticed about you too when I did my studying on you is that you are a master people connector. You love to help your clients find a healthy, loving relationship. And I'm curious, you've been married now for how long?
I'm not married. That's what got me into this. I was
That's
married.
right. That's right.
Yep.
First met you, you were married.
Yes.
I think. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you've been single now for how long?
So I've actually been single. Well, I'm not married, but like we know, my goal is not to get married again because I have a long term relationship, which I'm in, which is great. But I was married. He was a great person, and I came out of it and made a lot of mistakes. So I got into this to help other people not make the same mistakes I did. So that was 17 years ago. Started matchmaking 15 years ago and connecting people.
And you have a significant other.
I do. Hmm.
I had in my mind that you were coupled up. How did you meet?
Through a matchmaker.
Which one? Can you say?
No.
Okay,
I'll give her accolades. Yeah.
that's beautiful. Somebody you knew personally who had a client and said,
It's a friend
Christy,
of mine. Yeah.
is that beautiful? Wow. That's like me finding my sister, her guy.
Mhm.
Walked into
You
Gil Firm.
did?
I totally found my sister her husband, and it was a beautiful thing. He stumbled into Gil Firman, my husband's video dating service, and I was working for Gil. This was way, way back when, like 30 something years ago. And this guy was just amazing. He's the kind of guy that women would come there hoping to meet. And
Mhm.
you and I have been in sales for a long time. So, when the prospective client says, it's time to make the decision, are they going to become the client or not? Well, I'm the kind of guy, he's not going to make
Yeah.
his decision, right? You just know it, especially in this old world of, high pressure sales, which is what Great Expectations was. I did not have the highest close rate at that place because when somebody did not, it wasn't the right idea. It wasn't the right, they shouldn't spend that money. They shouldn't go into
Mm.
debt. No. So I would tell them, like I'm their sister. So anyway, this guy's, well, I'm the kind of guy, and this was not a guy I was willing to let go because I had done so many amazing interviews with women that I loved, and I wanted them to have access to a guy like this. So I told him all
Aw.
that. He was not budging. And he said, well, I just need to think about it. I said, here's what you're going to do. You got to make your decision today if you want to get this first visit incentive. I hate the whole thing, but it's the way the company's set up. That you're going to go 2 doors down to Joe Hannon's. You're going to get yourself a juicy steak. I knew he was a meat eater. And you're going to get yourself the best glass of Cabernet that they have there. And you're going to do all the thinking that you need to do. And instead of going home to be with my children, Alex and Kevin, and my husband, Gil, I'm going to sit here while you have dinner and I'm going to watch the phone until it rings. And I had him sign up all of his paperwork and everything. So all he had to do was call in his credit card number. I mean, I was not letting this guy go.
Wow.
And then he said, well, how do I even know there's any good people here? He's like ready to sign, but how do I even know there's any people here? I go in and I grab 3 profiles. One of them was my sister, but I didn't tell him it was my sister. Read the whole thing and he said, I'm impressed that you have people like this. I said, I'm gonna go, have my Cabernet and I'm gonna have my steak. And he went ahead and signed the thing, but it's not good unless there's money, right? So it was 9:04. He made me sweat that whole time. After 9, I picked up the phone. I said, this better be Michael O'Keefe. Still didn't tell him it was my sister, and then I called my he said he wanted to meet that girl for sure. So I called my sister, and she lived, like, maybe a half an hour away, just like
Yeah,
me. She's a professional, busy person, didn't wanna have to drive. We didn't have the internet. We had to drive to the
yeah.
center, and, she said, "Well, I like what he wrote in his profile." And I said, "What do you think about his pictures?" I had to fax it. I literally had to fax the profile. And she's like, "Well, I can't see the photos, but if you think he's attractive, Julie, I know that I will too. So go ahead and say yes for me." It was the only date she ever had there. It was his only date.
I love it. That's amazing.
So I love that you got into this. And I love that as many coaches, you got into it because you wanted to help people avoid some of the pitfalls that you had found yourself.
Yes, because my husband was a great person. So, when I went out there, I did the opposite, as you know, as we all do. 'Cause I wasn't upset. I was like, "Yes, I'm single again. I can date." And I dated like CFOs, CEOs, like all not to label all people in that C-suite area, but I dated a lot of narcissists. And they're so fun at the beginning. So I like I need to figure this out. So I took a year off and just a lot of reading on cluster B personality disorders, learning how to write a right profile, reading the profiles before I'd meet someone and being like, okay, so what am I doing wrong? And also just meeting people in person, which I've done my entire life because I've been a networker, an executive coach, and all that. So, how to attract the right ones, how to see the red flags and not make the same mistakes. So, my friends saw a big difference in me. I really didn't think I was going to be a dating coach. And they said, I think you'd be good at this. So I started helping girlfriends and guy friends out with dating. And I'm like, and then they started meeting awesome people. And I'm like, this could be a real job because no one was really a dating coach except for Evan Mark Katz back then. And that's why I started this business. And then my clients decided they couldn't be on the apps. They don't have time to meet people, not meeting the right people. So they asked me to set them up. I'm like, I can do this. I can really help people. So I love helping people. Financial, like you said earlier, was not my thing.
And then also, you are an organized person. You are a systems person. You want to develop systems that help you and serve you. It's natural for you to want to share with other matchmakers so that we can all get better at all of this. So I think you've definitely found the right profession. There's one question I want to ask you about this. how to break the pattern of um, being interested in, susceptible to, attracted to people with narcissistic tendencies. Um, what did you start looking for instead of charisma and all those things? What did you fall into before, and what did you start looking for that mattered much more than those other things?
The things I look for were the love bombing. Right off the bat, they're talking about the future, this or that. That's the easy one. They're nasty to wait staff. That could be other things, but if they're nasty to wait staff right off the bat, it's going to fall into the relationship. So there's certain red flags you can see if you start feeling the gaslighting tendencies, those types of things. So now, whenever that person comes in and they're like, "Oh my gosh, we're gonna have a future," not now, but if that person comes in at love bombing, it's a red flag. So you just go, okay. Not to say some people don't really fall for each other and it works, but it's something to kind of dig your heels in and kind of just watch how it plays out. Um, and then looking for people who are more emotionally available, people that weren't just the fun, like charismatic swoop in types, the ones that were grounded, asking me questions, as we talked about earlier, relating, really kind of being caring and knowing what's going on in my life, and sharing their life too. That's important. And if it's all a big secret, there's probably a problem. Um, right?
They're interested, they're curious. Um, I'm always focused on two things, especially for women. I know that we will be disappointed and we will be unhappy in a relationship if our partner isn't trustworthy, which is the umbrella for integrity, character, honesty, loyalty, all of that. So
Yeah.
that's all really important. And then kindness. All right. So people who are narcissistic are generally not kind because they're only thinking of themselves. So we can see unkindness in all kinds of ways. Certainly the way they treat somebody at the airport or on the road. Oh boy. Oh boy. I don't think I would bring a man into my life and call him my boyfriend until I knew how he drives and how he
Oh, yeah,
in the world.
that's true.
And when
Yeah.
there's a little old lady with a walker walking up to a grocery store, does he rush right in quickly so he doesn't have to deal with her? Or does he take an extra moment to hold the door for the lady with the walker? I got a broken foot right now and I'm hanging out with my wheelchair. And I'll tell you, there are people out there who will on purpose go in fast quickly so that they don't have to deal with the door. And do you know how hard it is to open up a big heavy door when you're in a wheelchair? I mean,
Men are doing that?
absolutely. I've been watching it. I've been watching it.
Wow. That is a
Service
huge red flags. Yeah.
um, can at what level can we ask for what we need nicely in a way that will inspire somebody to want to do it? Um, when there's a behavior pattern that's not working, how do we go about dealing with it? Do we stuff it? Do we bring it up? Can this person engage in the conversation? Can this person say, I'm sorry? And can this person say, I care about you? How we know if we should even consider having a man in our life is, does he demonstrate that he cares about you?
That's
And
true.
that could be the very first date. Oh, here, I was all excited about what I was going to order. Christy, what are you hungry for? What do you want to eat tonight? What would you love to see? I mean, does he care about the quality of your experience on the date, or is it just all about what he wants, right?
And I love that you said, in the way you said it, oh my gosh, what do you want to? They're going to get caught up in their own world sometimes, but are they able to pivot and kind of and check themselves without you always having to do it?
Yeah, that's right.
And
And
and vice versa too, women with men as well. So it's not just men. Yeah.
so maybe those are the three things. I always thought that maybe the third thing that was really important is the fun factor. And I think I would have to put the emotional intelligence communicative piece ahead of the fun factor. Maybe the fun factor is number four. But did we talk about height or hair or beards or, what color shirt he wears? Did we talk about any of that? right?
I just have to laugh
I
because
know.
you know why I'm laughing.
All right, we're back. Kristi Price, great matchmaker. You hang out in Philadelphia, right? That's
Philadelphia and
right.
West Palm. Yeah, both areas.
And West
Yeah.
Palm, that's right. You've got Florida too. All right, interesting. How is matchmaking and how is your experience of matchmaking and the dating culture different in Philadelphia than it is in West Palm Beach?
It's a bit different. So in Philadelphia, I think people are a little bit more grounded. I mean, than and they're just open. So I have up in Philly, I work from 30-year-olds on up to 70, um, and everyone's looking for love and more a little bit. We talked about age appropriate. I know you mentioned that before, way back, and they're really truly looking for a love connection. When I first moved to West Palm, now I have the right clients, but it was a little bit of a shock to my system. So I've been here for 4 years, and it was more about, the men wanting to date super young and the women wanting to have men just take care of them and be pretty. And I really want to help people find love connections. So they have to have similar experiences and value systems. So I just kind of got to know the community. So now I have clients. There are definitely 40 plus. It's an older community in Florida, in West Palm Beach and South Florida area. But it's tougher to date down here. So I realized after I really got to know the community, after some people wanted to hire me that had that were married, I'm like, that never happened up north. I'm like, wait. So it's tougher to date down here because it's just a very transient area and people are looking for different things. And you have a lot of, unfortunately, rehab centers and things. So it's become easier now that I have the right people. And they really, truly value that it's not just about a beard or hair or height. And they really are they were connected. So where I thought when I first moved here it would be harder because I'm not, and you can judge me if you want, but if you're 70 years old and you want to date a 30-year-old, ask your daughter for help. I'm not doing it.
Oh,
That's
that's
okay. That's not my client. I really want people to find true love. Not to say that can't happen, but it's not something that works. Um, but the people down here are just amazing, and they're a little easier than up Philly. I'm learning the last couple of years that they just really want the connection and find someone that's their true companion. And
love
Philly's
it.
amazing too. It's just different. Philly is more open. Down here is more, oh my gosh, they don't have a lot of options.
And it's kind of nice to be in a community where people are struggling to meet each other because they will seek us out. Santa Fe has been that way for me. And at first, I believed what people told me is that, oh, there aren't any good people here. It's a horrible place to date. Oh my gosh, it's the most beautiful place I have. I think I've done 12 markets now, and that has been a beautiful, beautiful market.
You
People are
said it
so
better than me. That's exactly. What came down here is like, how am I going to do this? And now I'm like, wow, people really want to find love everywhere.
so the later generations, people in their 50s and beyond, it's really beautiful because we may be more difficult to match because we have more history. We know, who we are, what we want, what we don't want. But when it's beautiful and there's a fit, oh my gosh, the incredible accolades and appreciation. I know you felt it too.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah. I think just even the 30-year-olds now, which I've just taken on the last 5 years, I think everyone, I think we've talked about this, the apps have just flattened dating. And I think people are so like, I'm not going to meet someone. So when we're able to match someone or we're able to teach them how to meet people on their own and keep that, and they've already loved their life. So they're feeling really good and it just happens. It's just magical and just adds this whole nother level to their being and their who they
And
are.
they're so happy to be able to ditch the apps and take their profiles down and just focus on relationship. So it's really really special. So I bet you have a story of a couple. There's a little section that I like to have on my YouTube channel, how we actually met, and I'm getting stories from matchmakers. So maybe you have a story of a couple that would never in a million years have met were it not for Kristi Price? Tell us that story.
So I actually had this client reach out just a few months ago. I think I worked with him probably around 5 years ago, and we were going date after date, and there was a woman I presented to him, and he's like, "Not my type," which not my type. She's not my look. She's not this, and I'm like, "You have so much in common. Just meet her. It won't count as a date. Just please go out with her on a date." And he went out, and then he was like, "Oh, I don't know." I'm like, "Just give it a couple more." And he called me. I knew they've been together because he was like, "You, without you coaching me and opening my heart and my brain to not my type, I wouldn't be in this beautiful relationship I'm in now." And I thank you so much. And it just warms my heart when that happens.
I just love it. Now, when he said not my type, was he referring to physicality or energetic, just the physical?
It was a photo because I show photos. I think you do too. Yeah, it was a photo, physical.
I'm going to guess that her body type was close enough to the body type that he tends to be attracted to, but it might be the facial structure that was a little different or just the overall package. But if you like slender and fit, you like slender and fit. If you like curvy and booby and booty, then that's what you like, right?
Hmm.
So was it like that so that he had to just she was his type on the inside, but on the outside it was a little different than he had been hot for before?
Yeah, I think she was fixed. I work with active, positive mind singles, so that was important to him, and I get that. She might not have been like slim, but she was athletic. Um, but she was cute. She wasn't, what he was used to dating, and she wasn't fiery. To our point earlier, she was very grounded and very giving, and that was different for him after we met her. So that's why even after the first day, I'm like, just give it a little more time. And she was just so kind, and I don't feel he was used to that.
Yeah, and I love that you said that and that he realized that at some level he realized that his type hadn't really been working for him and he gave this person a shot. Maybe it's the healthiest relationship he's ever had. A lot of us
I
have been
think
in a series of toxic relationships and we keep repeating it over and over and over again because it feels familiar.
exactly. Yeah, and I'm sure you probably say the same type of thing, but I say your type hasn't worked this far. Give something outside your comfort zone a little bit of a chance. It can't hurt. You're just meeting people. It's a first date. Just go out on a date and see what happens.
Yep. I will encourage people. Of course, your type, the person that you've always kind of gone for, is interested, knocking on your door. They want to go out on a date. Well, look for kindness, look for trustworthiness, ask about primary dating purpose. That's something I tell people to look at from the very beginning on that first text, on that first phone call. Christy, I'm kind of new at dating, I'm kind of fish out of water. What are you doing dating for? Are you ready for like the last first date of your life? Are you just meeting people for fun? Open-ended question. Both people should be asking those questions. Don't you
I,
think?
I think you're right. Yeah, you have to know right off the top. And do they have a
And
good relationship with their kids? I mean, you don't want to go deep into the exes. I don't believe that. But if they have children, ask about the relationships in their family.
yeah,
If they have issues with all of their family, that could be a problem.
and
Sometimes you have one member. That's not a red flag.
there are people. My brother-in-law is an example. The wonderful man that my sister married, that I dragged into the office. um, he did not have a good family experience. And he is the best father I know. It's amazing. Every now and then it'll happen like that where somebody goes up and says, I'm not doing what my mother did. I'm not doing what my dad did. It was kind of like my parents were Black Angus cattle breeders in Missouri. So what did I do? I had to become a vegetarian, right?
Yeah. Did he do the work though? That's the other question. So that's the main thing. He obviously learned from those experiences. Unfortunately, some people don't. So I love that.
Yeah. It's that element of growth orientation, and they might not be at your level there, but is there just enough? I call it a threshold of willingness to engage in these challenging conversations and to admit when we're wrong and apologize and make amends and start practicing different behavior. if they can't bring that to the table, it's going to be a pretty sad relationship. Just
It
is.
is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So awesome. I love it. Now, do you work with both men and women as clients or just men?
I work with both men and women.
I have a lot of respect for matchmakers who serve both men and women as clients. We are more challenging to serve as women. I know that. What are your reasons for knowing that? In what ways have women been challenging for you and you have to be really careful before you bring on a female client?
I think expectations. I think men are easier to reel in. I think when women are very powerful and they're successful, they think they have it all figured out. And sometimes that leads into their personal life that they haven't figured out yet, which I was one of them. I had a lot of masculine energy coming from the wealth management and executive coaching field. And so if I can't get them to learn how to be feminine, if they want some man to be a leader and taking charge, there's a part of that's coaching. But off the top of my head, it would be their expectations for age range, which, or height or looks or something are just totally not in line with what's realistic. And also all the other things they're looking for in a man. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I have someone that's 5'1", want to date only 6 foot or taller. What's the median height of a man? 5'8" to 5'9", and she's 5'1". So she's 5'5" with 4-inch heels on. So if I can't reel those expectations in, I won't work with them. I want to make sure I can meet their expectations.
No way. I won't at all.
What about
I
you?
um, it's I always will. Like, I don't care how long a list might be of all the qualities and characteristics that a woman would love to see all in one man. I don't care how long it is, but I need to know, and we need to work it out together. And we'll do it on our very first 30-minute phone call. What are your key criteria, the top three things that you'd rather be single forever than partner with a guy who didn't have it? So there's the trustworthiness, there's the kindness, there's the communicative, emotional intelligence, or maybe it's the fun factor. And, I watch them squirm when they're like, but what about the height thing? Well, if it's more important than kindness, then sure, put it on there. But really? It's like, really?
I love that. So only three things. Okay.
If
Actually, I
somebody's
get in
got a whole,
politics and religion too. So they only
um,
can have three things.
oh yeah, politics and religion can be important. And for some people, having a Christian, a practicing Christian, or an observant Jew is more important than even communication, emotional intelligence is kind of connected, right? They have a
Yeah.
spiritual connection with something bigger than themselves. So that's in the realm. So I'll always,
Okay.
if they have a lot of what we call romantic market value, then let men and women both have as many as four or five critical criteria. The more someone has of romantic market value, that term comes from a book I
I
read.
like that.
Oh, it's great. A guy named Larry Davis, long, long, long time ago, wrote a book called Black and Single. And it was fascinating. He lived in St. Louis. I met him. We had him speak at Gill's Great Expectations office. And I love the book. And I've borrowed his term. And I always try to remember to give him credit for it because romantic market value is beautiful. Um, the more romantic market value we have, the more challenging we are to match because of our expectations. Well, I have all of this. I need somebody who has all of that too. And the problem
Mm,
is part of it that everybody wants to meet that person. A
right.
lot, it's very
Hmm.
competitive. The other reason I think that we are more difficult to serve for matchmakers as women is that I've done over 50,000 interviews, and that we call it the Adam Sandler effect. It's the ability that we have as women to develop attraction for a man over time.
Hmm.
I
Yes.
don't know if Adam knows that we refer to him in that way,
I've
and I
never
know
heard of the Adam Sandler effect, but yeah, because I think as soon as we get older too, it's about the brain too. It's not that about that initial magic,
yeah,
spark that everyone talks about, which isn't real unless it
well,
it can't.
by the time
Yeah.
we're in our 40s, 50s, 60s, beyond, we know better than to just go for the flash in the pan. Too many people think that matters. Looking perfect, right?
Yes.
Try
Yeah.
looking perfect through a 35-year-old marriage. You can't be perfect for 35 years every day of every minute of the day. You just can't. Women,
No, and looks fade. It's really about the values and everything. I mean, you have to be attracted to the person, but the romantic chemistry off the bat is sometimes indicative of a past toxic relationship that was great in the bedroom, other things. Yeah, it
yeah,
doesn't
very
mean it's a
good.
spark that you should be with that person.
Kristi Price, there's something else that you're really good at, and that is style and image. And I'm curious, since you've been doing this for a while, what are the things that you see people doing that are not serving them in terms of how they're presenting themselves on first, second, third dates?
I think it's number one, just putting effort into how you look before you go out on a date. Because first impressions for first date are everything, right? And it is about attraction. So I've seen, I just a man showed up with old shoes on for his first date, and we go through. Here's what you should wear. This is what you should do. But he fell back into that, and it kills it if the woman's really put a lot of effort into showing up, and putting the dress on, everything else. So I think just showing up, and dressed appropriately for whatever activity you're doing. Maybe it's not. A dinner or cocktails, maybe you're going on a hike, but just put effort into you so you look good and you feel good in what you're wearing. So you have to feel comfortable and confident in it too. But I think it's that's the image part. And smiling. So smiles are contagious. So even if you're nervous, you walk in to meet that person, like make sure you're smiling, your postures, like you're walking with confidence, and it just sets a good tone for your first date and second and third. And first impressions, you have 7 seconds to make that first impression. And it's hard to get
Seven.
back from that. That's it. So that's what I'm saying. When you show up, do that. And then you don't have to recover. So there are some women, he's going on a second date. But there are a couple other things too. So that magnified it. So if he had looked the part and these other couple things didn't go, she probably would have gone on a second date.
Probably. Some of the things that women are doing on first, second, and third dates regarding image, style, presentation that hasn't worked well.
From executive coaching, I know you have like literally 7 seconds. It's probably less now. So it's your posture, smiling when they first see you. Are you looking at them with good energy and you look well dressed? Whatever the event is, whatever. It doesn't have to mean you're dressed up, but you just look clean and put together.
You
That's
put
number one. And then I think it's just your personality after that. I really feel like it's the conversation things. I don't know anyone that's blown it because of not putting themselves together.
so sometimes when a woman shows up too sexy, too sexy,
Slutty is not good. Let's just say it.
it's like it's one thing if you're going to like a New Year's Eve party or something and everybody's going to be all hussied up. But for a first date, I think that it's better to be leave some to the imagination.
So
But if
we
you show up in one of those big smocky kind of like, and guys hate patterns,
no
so
moo
blues, bold, like it looks like a Hawaii shirt. No, don't do it.
Okay.
Guys can't even focus. It's just crazy. So they want to see what her body looks like. Does she have a waistline? Is she slender? Is she curvy? They want to know. And sometimes women just, well, I want him to want me for who I am. Well, it's the first level of
Men are visual, just like yeah, classy but sexy. And men are visual. I did have a client show up in a ponytail right from work, and he was like, "What?" And it just like women want men to put effort into the date, how they look. Just be clean and put together. That's the number one thing, right?
Now, I do have a couple that got together. They've been married for a long, long, long time. And she almost blew off the date because traffic was bad. It was Santa Monica, and she had to get up from I don't know where, down south in Orange County. And she had to either blow off the date or call him up and say, I haven't had time to go home and get changed. I got stuck in a sig alert and it was a horrible traffic jam. And so what should I do? And he said, I want you to come. I've
That's
reserved
cute.
So have you. And if you're in your work clothes, because she worked in a hospital, like physical therapy, kind of, she had her scrubs on. I mean, literally. And he said, "You can show up in your scrubs. I'd be happy to see you." And then she just let him know.
It's great because it created humor right off the bat, right? It kind of broke the ice because they're being real with each other.
I always recommend that. And if you're having a bad day or something horrible happened, just say, "Ah, I'm a little bit nuts at the moment because of what just happened." And they'll ask you, "Well, what just happened?" And you say, "Okay, I'm going to give you the 30-second story." Don't give them the 5-minute story. Give them the 30
Yeah,
seconds. Say, "Okay, let's shake it off." And you can shake it off together. And then, Christy, what are you all about? It's
yeah. And that shows value too. That shows high EQ, right? So if you can kind of deal with it in a few minutes and open yourself up to that and move on and enjoy your night, they go, oh, okay, this person's really resilient.
so if somebody wants to work with Christy, they can work with you for coaching. You do coaching with people, dating coaching. If they're doing online dating, they might not want to hire you at the high level for matchmaking, but they want to have some dating coaching. You can do that.
I can help them with that, and going to the right events and all that fun stuff.
Do you produce events too?
I do, yeah. So I do events in West Palm Beach. I'm going to start back up in Philly in June. So yeah, and just showing them where to go to meet people too. The apps are great, but I really believe in casting a wide net and creating opportunity.
So the kind of events that you've been doing in West Palm Beach, what are they like?
Different. So we just did an event at oh my gosh, a really nice place on the island, and we had a wine company come in and do a tasting from Italy. I just did an event with an aesthetic company. We did a night of fortune. I created like these fortune cookies that were all like, you'll meet your match. Your match tonight will play pickleball, so they could like find their match. It was a talking point, which was super fun. I had tarot card readers. People love that. And the next one is a pickleball event, May 17th. So I just try to mix it up. People like different things.
Beautiful. I love the fortune cookie idea. So you can actually go to a fortune cookie company and tell them what to put inside the fortune cookies.
Yes.
Oh,
Yep. So I had all these different ones. They were great talking points. So yeah, you have to check it out.
I'm gonna borrow that, but I'll always credit you with the idea. I'll give you
Okay.
anything else you want to tell our people, Christy Price?
No, if anyone has a question, I do 20-minute free phone consults if they just want to get to know me, and if they have any all the information is on my site, and just however I can help people, I'm here.
Yeah, I'm thinking right now of a lady I know well who lives in the area, and she was a client of mine years back in LA, and now she's there in your hood. So I'm going to send her this podcast episode and encourage her to jump in with you too. It'll be great.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it, Julie.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here, Christy. I just love you, and now I got you like in my psyche. I'm going to know you forever. It only takes 45 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, take this stuff to heart and pick some of the ideas that you heard today and see which ones you're willing to try on and become a master at. Is it the flirting one? Is it how you present yourself on a first date? Is it paying attention to the stuff that really matters? Is it code to the stupid little stuff that we sometimes pay attention to? What are you taking from this? And apply it to yourself this week and your dating life this week. And then send me an email to let me know what happened when you stepped outside your comfort zone. Love to hear it. Thanks so much for listening,
Okay.
guys. Now you go out there and transform me to we for yourself.